Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jessica. Today I'm filming an update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. This is my May update for 2023. I've been working on 5 eyeshadows, always with the goal to hit pan on them or until I use them 30 times over at least 3 months of use. Those are the guidelines that I like to go by. This project was created by a YouTuber named Alexi, who I always have linked in the description box down below, making sure she gets full credit for this amazing project that everybody loves, at least my fellow panners out there. It's been kind of a tricky month with Pan Those Eyeshadows. My attention has been spread over many different projects, including Pan That Palette and my Project Level Up, and then of course Deck of Panning can bring in some eyeshadows here and there. But I'm still making progress on this one, and it's just been really fun to track my pan percentage using this project over the course of the past several years. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this update and let you know how I'm doing on my 5 shades, and hopefully we get to roll in something new this month. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. I'm taking a gamble wearing stripes in this video. I'm a little nervous on how they will read on camera, but hey, gotta live on the edge, right? We'll see how it works out. And I love wearing stripes, regardless of how it looks on camera. So if this is hurting your eyes, my apologies. Maybe just peek over when I'm showing my progress photos if that helps out. Let's get into the video. Here's the color palette of eyeshadows that I've been working on over the past month. I'm gonna start with this shade down here at the bottom. This has been in the longest. This is Samael from my Shade and Light eye palette from KVD. This is a really cool toned, mid-toned brown. It's not as dark on the eye as it is in the swatch, especially when I'm blending it out. I guess it can be built up for a more dark, impactful look, but it's been really easy to reach for. This is the 3rd month this shade has been in this project. Here's what it was looking like when I had first rolled it in. I used it 7 times during the 1st month and it was looking like this. I reached for it 11 additional times in the month of March, making for 18 uses total, and it was looking like this. And I was really hopeful to make the push and use this at least 12 more times to reach my 30 use goal. I was able to reach for it 13 times, making for 31 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And I hope you'll see that there is a tiny little baby pan in there. And I actually hit pan on it on the 30th use, which was incredible. I was gonna keep going on this after 30 uses just because I knew pan was so close, but I didn't have to. I did reach for it 1 additional time just to expand it a little bit more. It was such the faintest glimmer of a pan when I first hit it. So there you have a slightly larger pan. You're welcome. So that one gets to roll out and I'm really happy about that. I kind of forget about this palette. It's definitely not something I reach for regularly. I have mattes and neutrals in most of my palettes that I own. So this one I kind of just keep on hand for Halloween use, for when I really just want to dig into a palette and have fun with it and use it on other people, use it in multiple different ways, get lots of different shading colors in here, and it works really nicely for that. But for my regular day-to-day use, I'm not really reaching for it. Maybe I will start to do that more as I'm just trying to rotate through my collection more often. But for now, I'm happy to put this one back into my collection. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. That means I do get to roll in a new shade this month, and I'm adding a new eyeshadow to my eyeshadow pan percentage. Yay. Moving on to the next shade, this is that matte yellow shade from the Pineapple Cake Quad. It's the shade To The Core, and it is such a cute little palette. Here is the palette for you. It was their Hello Kitty collaboration, and she's holding a pineapple. Okay. There's also a pineapple embossed in this eyeshadow pan, which was so cute, and I'm really sad to have been wearing it away, but you'll be able to see it at least in the progress photo. So here's what it was looking like when I had first rolled it in. This is now the 2nd month it's been in this project. Here's what it was looking like after 6 uses during the 1st month. And I'm sorry to say that in the past month, I only reached for it 5 additional times, which is much lower uses than I typically try and meet, but I now have 11 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And you'll see that pineapple is starting to wear away. You can still see it. It's quite a deep embossing, surprisingly. And even though I'm getting a little bit of a dip forming, I am nowhere close to pan. I have been getting use on the rest of the palette, which that feels good to reach for this one a few times, this one a few times, not this one. And when I reach for To The Core, I'm using quite a fluffy brush. I've been using it in my upper crease as a transition shade just to kind of brighten up more neutral colors and just add a little glimmer of yellow. And that's been really fun. I did let it sing in maybe 2 yellow looks in the past month. I hopefully have a picture of at least one of them, which you should definitely check out I'm going to put it right here in the middle of my video after all these updates. I have 19 more uses to go on this to meet my usage goal, and I don't think that's going to happen in just 1 month. So this one might be hanging out for a little bit longer than 3 months, but that's okay. This is such a fun, springy, summery palette, and I just love having it out on my vanity. It's so adorable to look at. It's so fun to reach for, and I love a little pop of yellow here and there. It's not the easiest shade for me to wear on a regular basis, as you can see from my uses, but I think once I'm done with school and I'm just in that summer mindset, I will be excited to reach for this a little bit more often. Next shade is this sparkly one here from ColourPop Quad. It's the Sorbet Quad. This is the shade Glazy, and here's what that quad looks like. It's really pretty, very neutral mauves, and really loved having this one out. I hadn't touched it much at all before bringing it into this project, so I'm glad that it's finally getting some use. Look how shimmery and reflective it is. It's such a pretty shade, so easy to reach for. All over the lid is gorgeous. Inner corner looks great. And I have had no problem reaching for this in the past month. So here's what it was looking like when I first rolled it in. Again, basically brand new. During the past month, I'm happy to say I was able to use this 12 times. And after those 12 uses, here's what it's looking like today. And I'm hoping you'll be able to see that there is a small dip forming on there. We still have a long way to go. I don't think I'm anywhere close to pan, but once those dips start to develop, they can deepen quite quickly without much effort. So I'm excited to continue to reach for that one. I don't know if this will be out by next month, but definitely will enjoy the process of going through this eyeshadow and hopefully have pan on it for you before it rolls out of this project. I'm pretty confident that it will, but we will see. I do really enjoy this quad. I love the clear packaging. I think it's really just kind of fresh and modern. However, it's kind of cheap, you know, like these little plastic corners are starting to break. I'll be honest, I am a little bit clumsy. I can be a little bit clunky with my items, just kind of tossing them around. I really try not to, but mistakes happen and sometimes it takes a little spill. Even those little bumps and bruises are really making some damage. So I'm going to be really delicate with this one because I anticipate this one falling apart on me if I'm not careful. And even Glazy, when I went to look at it today, had a little bit of breakage happening around the edge, probably from me dropping it a little bit harder than I should. So I really need to be careful with that. Help me be accountable for taking good care of my makeup. Hopefully it's not too much worse for wear by our next update, because for now it's staying with me and I'm going to try and be gentle with you. I will. I'm sorry. Moving right along to this first blue shade. This is a bright matte blue. It's in the shade Fine China, and it is, of course, I have them all right here, from my ColourPop She's a Rainbow palette. This palette keeps coming into this project, which I guess keeps things colorful. So here's what Fine China was looking like just last month when I rolled it in. I really had to force myself to reach for this one, only was able to do it 5 times. And after those 5 uses, here's what that shade was looking like today. And I'm hoping you'll see at least a small little dip disturbance happening in that pan. I've been using this mostly in my outer corner and as a liner, so I'm using smaller brushes with it, which hopefully will help the progress to move along a little bit faster. I do have this in my look today. Of course, I had to get a blue look in, get some kind of use on these blue shades at some point. I'm not wearing them to work on a regular basis, so I've got to get them in on the weekends. Lots of blue happening on the weekends recently, but not enough apparently because we don't have a ton of progress to share and only 5 uses to report. So obviously that one's gonna stay in. I'm a little nervous about this one. It's my challenge shade for now, and that just keeps things interesting. You know, we have to keep these challenges in here. That's what makes this project fun and what forces me to be more creative. I would not have done this look typically on my own, not for like a quiet Sunday, but I like it. You know, I always love a moment of blue, kind of a gloomy Sunday. So it's not typically when I would want to reach for bright colors, but I love it all the same. And it was one more use that I could add to my tally. So there, that is great. Only 25 more uses to go. And who knows if that will get me to pan. I am not very hopeful about that, but even just 30 uses on a bright blue is an accomplishment all in itself. And speaking of blues, that last shade is the pale blue from my L'Oreal Avant-Garde Azure palette. This quad that I've had in my collection for, I'm not even joking you, probably 8 years, about. Maybe more like 7. It's been a while. And here is that palette. They still sell this. It's a goodie. It has great blue shades in there if you don't have any in your collection. I don't know if I still need this in my collection now, and the packaging is broken, as you can see. So just kind of a little annoyance. That's the thing about the drugstore. Sometimes you have really good product, but it's the packaging, man. It drives me a little bit crazy. So here's what this shade was looking like when I had first rolled it in. I rolled it in just last month and I was able to reach for it 7 times. And after those 7 uses, here's what it's looking like today. And I'm happy to see that there is quite a nice little dip forming on this shade. And I think I'm actually pretty close to pan. I'm hopeful that I should have pan on this by the next update. The product inside these pans is quite shallow, and it's also quite powdery and not the most pigmented, so it's pretty easy to hit pan on this quad. I hit pan on this one in maybe like 7 uses or something like that. So this one, I think maybe like 3, 4, maybe 5 more uses, I should have pan on that first shade. So that one is also gonna stay in. These blues are just gonna keep on rolling into the month of May. It's just gonna be warming up. I'm gonna be wanting to reach for blues even more often, and I have no doubt that I'll be able to just ramp up my uses on them both and hopefully have a pan on at least one of those blues for you next month. So that means I have just one shade rolling out this month. I'm hopeful that next month I should have pan on at least this shade, and we'll be able to roll that one out soon. But for now, just one new shade rolling in. I'm gonna pick that shade randomly in just a moment. But first, let's go through some of the eyeshadow looks I was able to create with these shades in the month of April. I didn't take pictures of a ton of them. If I used this one in my crease, I probably wasn't taking a picture of it. I should have taken more pictures with this one, but when I'm wearing more neutral makeup, I just forget to take pictures sometimes. It just seems like not that important. And then I get to these videos and all of a sudden, whoops, I don't have enough pictures. But I will share the pictures that I have, and I'll try and take more in the next update for you. This first look contains both To the Core, that yellow shade, and the pale blue from the L'Oreal palette. I have the yellow shade all throughout my crease, and I have this blue shade on the outer part of my lid, and I think I blended it with some green shades as well, so the blue isn't really popping as much as it would on its own, but this shade just doesn't really do a lot of popping as it is. I do have this blue on my eye look today as well, mostly on the inner part of my lid, and then I try to do it on my lower lash line, but it was really hard to just build up enough pigment to really get a nice shimmery blue effect. It's just more subtle than I was hoping, but that's fine. I still got a use on it, and that's kind of why it's more muted in this colorful look here as well. But I really did like this look. I wore it in a video, and a lot of people commented on it. I think I wore it on Easter. I was feeling very springy and colorful on Easter, as you do. This look was a 1950s makeup inspired look that I did for Dapper Day at Disneyland. Me and my friends dressed up in vintage outfits and went with all of our other Disney nerds in the universe to an event called Dapper Day. It's not an official Disney-led event, but it kind of has this cult following. People who are into Disney and who are into vintage, dressing up in clothing that's inspired by the era of time when Disneyland first opened in the mid-50s. People take it all sorts of different places. They do different costume bounds with it. They do different eras, just like as long as you're dressing up and you're feeling fancy at Disneyland, you're on theme. So I did kind of like a 1950s housewife inspired look, of course, with a classic red lip. And then I have this shade all over my lid, along with lots of other blues as well. I probably have Fine China on my outer part of my crease as well, just to give it some depth. And then I topped that shade with a more shimmery blue as well. I don't remember where from. I think it might have been from my ColourPop She's a Rainbow palette, just to kind of amp up the shimmer a little bit more. I always love a very pale blue wash all over my lids, and it worked well for the event. In this next look, I combined some of these blues with pinks and kind of created a purpley look. I also wore this look in a video. It seems like most of my colorful looks are for videos. Again, I'm wearing them on the weekend, so that's when I film videos for the most part. But I do have Fine China all over the outer crease in this look, and I believe I also used the L'Oreal pale blue shade on the outer part of my lid. Again, it's just very subtle, doesn't give a big payoff, but it's there, okay? Take my word for it. And I actually really like how this look turned out. It's kind of got some watercolor vibes, and it just looked really pretty and soft. Here is a little yellow moment for you. This one I used To the Core all throughout the crease, and then I used the shimmery yellow in that quad all over my lid, mixed in with Hype from my Pan Those palettes, the Tarte's Pro To Go palette. So just a very golden, simple eyeshadow look, and it was pretty. I liked it. And the last look I have to share with you, surprise, is also from a video of mine. This is a very bold graphic blue look. I obviously have both blues on in this look. Fine China making most of the shape, and that pale blue from L'Oreal again on that inner part of my lid, just to add a little bit of lightness and contrast. So there you have it. Those are all the looks I have to share with you. Of course, I had a lot more looks that I created, but they were mostly featuring shades from other projects, so not necessarily things I need to share right now. If you want to see more my makeup looks, I try and post them on my Instagram stories. You can follow me at Jessica Panana with a P. And I also try and post videos on my regular grid as well. It's been a lot. Social media has fallen by the wayside a little bit. I'm just happy I'm keeping up with my project with all of you. So kudos to me. And now for my pan percentage, I have an arbitrary goal that I'm trying to reach this year. My goal is for my pan percentage to reach 20% by the end of this year, but I'm really thinking I'm gonna surpass that. I am on track for it. I have 466 total shades of eyeshadows in my collection, and that includes all of my eyeshadow palettes, as well as my individual eyeshadows that are in my Z palette and my potted single eyeshadows. So of those 466, last month I had pan on 75 of them, and my pan percentage was 16.09%. In the past month, I hit pan on 5 additional eyeshadows. So yes, there's this one here in Samael, but then I also hit 4 additional pans from other projects. I have a pan from my ColourPop High Society that was in my project Level Up, which I will link all of these above for you if you want to check out other panning projects of mine. I also have 2 new pans in my Pan Those palettes, specifically my Lorac Mega Pro 2. And then I also have a pan in my other Pan That palette, my Tarte's Pro To Go palette. So 3 from that project. And then I have this one from the Pan Those Eyeshadows project. So I now have pan on 80 of my 466 eyeshadow shades, bringing my pan percentage to 17.17%. So I went up a whole percentage point, just a little bit more than 1%, and I think I should be getting to 20% in the next couple months, definitely before the end of the year, and who knows how much I'll be able to get before the year is over. I'm excited to find out. Thanks for following all of this along with me. If you're into these silly little number data points like I am, you're welcome. And now for the fun part, I get to roll in one new shade of eyeshadow to focus on in this project. So I have my iPad pulled up here. I use the Tiny Decisions app where I have a wheel containing all of my eyeshadow palettes and singles and Z palettes that are eligible to be rolled into this project. I'm gonna quickly black out any palettes that I don't wanna roll in, like my Too Faced Chocolate Gold. That's part of my project Level Up. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna leave it there and just see what happens. Like if I have to focus on a shade that is already in a palette I'm working on, I guess I can cross over the projects if I feel like it. So let's just kind of see what happens and take it from there. Here's my wheel. Check out up here, that's where it's gonna list my new palette. I hope it gives me a good one. Haha. That's the one I'm already working on. Okay, well, what are you gonna do? I'm actually not going to force myself to re-roll something else. That's the ColourPop Quad in Sorbet, the one that I just updated you on, that Glazy is a part of. So why not reach for that palette even more since the packaging is falling apart and I already have it out. There she is. At least this is like a really easy neutral palette that will be quite natural to reach for. So I'm already working on Glazy here, as you know. So I have shades 2, 3, and 4 eligible to be rolled in. So I'll just put in the numbers 2 through 4 on my random number generator and see what the gods have in store for me. I wouldn't mind having a matte in here. That would not hurt me too much. All right, so the numbers 2 through 4 are in there, and I'm getting an advertisement. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's get that random number. Number 3, and that is the more mid-tone color. So that actually makes my life a lot easier. This shade right here. And how pretty are these shades together? I think that would be such an easy 2-shadow look. This is the shade called Extra Syrup. Yes, please. And let me swatch it for you and give you an idea about what this shade looks like. It's definitely more of a mauve-y toned crease, which I love. Love a mauve. Not the best for the summer, but I will make it work. And there it is in the swatch. This will look beautiful in the crease. I'm excited to reach for it and just excited to get more wear on this palette because before this, it had none at all. So sorry it's not the most exciting shade to roll in, but hey, excitement is all about how you look at things, right? And I'm excited just to get this thing looking used and hopefully not too much more beat up around those corners. So there is my new eyeshadow color palette for the month of May. Not too different from last month, but I'm still excited for it. I think this will be great for spring and summer as we come into it. I'm excited to play with these two together, and I'm excited that I still have these pops of blue that I can work into other shades that I'm working on in different projects. So I really hope you enjoyed this update today. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about my repeat palette coming in. What are you gonna do? It just happens that way sometimes, especially for me, it seems. But I still had some fun dips to share with you and a new pan, and my pan percentage is getting so close to my goal, and I cannot wait to get there. Let me know when you think I will reach it. Will it be in June? Probably not. July? Probably by August? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're doing really well out there, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.